you're going to write me a check for $50,000, okay? That's literally what's going to happen, okay? And in return, I'm going to basically give you $1 million. Yes? Okay, does everybody follow? He's going to write me a check for $50,000 for a loan origination fee. In return, once I receive that check, I'm going to write you basically a check back for indirectly in terms of the loan for $1 million. Yes? So how much am I really dispersing?
950.
950. You everybody follow that? Because if we've got $1 million and basically 50,000 of that, or 5%, is loan origination fee, then that means that me as the lender, I'm really only dispersing a net of 950. Now this is a mission critical thing you absolutely, positively have to embed within your brain, okay? Understanding that logic, because you're going to see as we begin to work these sort of problems, that's going to be one of the first steps that you're going to have to do, is you're going to have to take into account that difference. Okay, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. All right, using that example, all right, so once again, 12 payments per year. Now we're going to do $1 million loan, and we can do that, once again, however we want to set that up. So $1 million loan. Now what interest rate am I going to charge you? 5%? Yeah. Okay, so a 5% interest rate. And what sort of a term? 15 years? Okay, 15-year term. All right, so let's establish what our monthly payment is. And this is where you're going to start to get excited. If you don't, well, too bad, so sad. Okay. So our monthly payment is going to be $79.07.94. Everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we've gone through that. We haven't done anything about our loan origination fee yet, correct? We haven't taken that into consideration at all. Okay, now, let me ask this question. Before we do anything with our loan origination fee, how much is my monthly payment? $79.07. The loan origination fee is not going to impact our monthly payment. What it's going to impact is our cost of borrowing. Okay, let me explain. How much did the lender actually disperse? $950. We're going to put that in as our new loan amount, because from the perspective of the lender, they have only dispersed $950,000. So if that's the case, and I continue to make these, or we make these payments of $79.07.94 for the 15 years, what you're going to find is that your actual cost of borrowing or your lender's yield is going to be something higher than 5%.
Just real quick, where did that $950 come from?
That is taking into account the 5% loan origination fee. So, because of that loan origination fee, my actual effective cost of borrowing, also called, or also known as, aka, lender's yield. Okay? You can use either term pretty much interchangeably, or at least I do. Okay? Is 5.787. And Natalia is studying this very carefully, trying to make sure he's drawing the connection. But what's happening here is, from the lender's perspective, I'm only dispersing 950 grand. Because that 50,000 that he paid me was upfront, and that was to pay for, all of these other, sort of, costs associated with the loan. But the reality really is, I don't really have a whole lot of cost. They're already just, this is sort of just baked in, and it's me trying to technically allocate cost in some way. The reality is, I'm pretty much as a lender, pretty much pocketing that $50,000, okay? But the reality of it is, I am only really dispersing 950 to you, but yet you are paying me back
$1 million.
$1 million.
Plus interest.
Okay? So that is why your effective cost of borrowing
More than 5.
is more than 5%. So this is the part where the rubber begins to hit the road. Okay? We have another lender down the street, and he's offering a interest with, let's say, a 5.25% with no loan origination fees. It's a better deal. If he's offering 5.25% with no loan origination fees, that's a better deal than me offering 5% interest rate with 5% loan origination. Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yeah.
So you already learned your first key lesson in this. You've got to look at those loan origination fees.
And this is not even including the 80% of the value and all the other
Yeah.
stuff that we have.
Right. This is just looking at the loan. Okay? All right. Now, how else does the lender make money? Well, we said they can charge servicing fees. What are servicing fees? What does that mean?
Late payment fees or?
Yeah, normally that's what you think of them as late payment, and that's a type of administrative fee. But normally a servicing fee, and we're going to get into a little bit of a discussion on this, but a servicing fee may be nothing more than you write me well, I'll go back to the topic. Okay, you're my borrower here. You write me this check every month, all right? You send it to me at the bank. It goes into this lock box. I go down, once a month, empty out the lock box, get your check along with all the other checks that are in there. I take it upstairs. I take the check out of the envelope. I type in the stuff on my computer. Ultimately deposit the check. All this sort of accounting, bookkeeping, sort of stuff. And I'm going to charge you a fee for that. Okay, a servicing fee. Okay, to do all of that sort of bookkeeping, accounting, secretarial, whatever word you want to use, but it's a servicing fee. Okay, it's for my trouble as a lender of having to process that payment. Okay, so let's say that I charge you $100 a month just to basically take your check, collect it, deposit it, post it. All right, everybody follow me? So if I did that, what effect is that going to have on the variables here? What's going to go up by $100 a month?
Interest rate, the payment. Overall.
Your payment. My payment is going to go up by $100 a month, yes?
Right.
So if I add in, so what we've got, let's make sure that we're clear on what we've got. We've got a 5% loan origination fee. And now we've got a $100 a month servicing fee. Okay, so that monthly payment of $7907.94, add $100 to that, we get $8007.94. That becomes a negative payment. Now we can do what? Solve again for our effective cost of borrowing. Oops. 5.983, okay, is our new effective cost of borrowing. Does that make sense? Yes or no? So in other words, that's just another way the lender's making money off of this, but it's doing what? It's continually increasing that base rate. You know, keep in mind, our initial rate was 5%. Now we're almost up to 6% because of the loan origination fee and basically this monthly service fee of $100. Does that make sense, everybody? Yes or no?
Oh, how'd you get the 8,700?
Okay, $100 plus 3907.
Oh, okay.
If that's your payment, and we're going to add $100 to it,
It's 1,007.
okay? Okay, everybody good so far? Okay, are you ready to have your mind blown?
Oh, it's already been blown, sir.
Okay, now we've got prepayment penalties. Okay, so that at some point you decide you're going to pay off this loan early, you're going to take a hit. Okay, so how much do we want our prepayment penalty to be?
3.9.
Oh, that's a little bit too high. Even I won't go there. Okay, let's just go with maybe 4%. Okay? Okay? Now, in this case, this loan is for 15 years. Yes? Yes. Okay? So we can set up the criteria for the prepayment in a lot of different ways, but the normal way is that pretty much if you pay it off any time prior to the end of the 15th year, you're simply going to pay 4% of the outstanding loan balance at that time. So in other words, it becomes less as you get deeper and deeper into the loan. You're going to pay the most penalty is if you were to simply say, the moment you get the loan, I'm going to prepay it. Then you're going to suffer the biggest penalty. But if you wait 5 years or 10 years into the loan, that prepayment penalty is going to be less because it's, once again, it's based on the balance of the loan that's still outstanding. Everybody?
Including interest or without interest?
Well, you're going to have to pay the interest up to that point,
Yeah.
but you're not going to be paying it after that point unless, you're getting ahead of me, unless we add in something that's called yield maintenance.
Okay.
But in terms of just the prepayment penalty alone, it's going to be a fixed percentage on the outstanding mortgage balance. Okay? Now, okay, when do we want to prepay this loan? What month or year?
5 years.
5 years, okay? So we're going to prepay at end of month 60. Okay? End of month EOM. Okay? Okay. All right. Give me a second. Okay, but no. You may or you may not, because here's the thing. The balance is going to be calculated only up to this point. You're not going to include all this
Right,
stuff.
I didn't.
Okay. But I'm going to go ahead and just double check, make sure.
You don't know.
I know, I don't trust
I
anyone.
suck hands people in shape.
I trust no one. Okay, all right. So, let's just go back, just to be safe. Once again, 12 payments per year. Our original loan amount was $1 million at 5%.
But you can't get
For 15 years. And we get our payment. Once we've got that, then we can calculate our balance at the end of 60 months. So we're going to do that by 1, input, 60, shift, amortize, equal, and that's going to give us our balance, okay? Then we're going to take that balance, and we're going to multiply that by 1 plus our prepayment penalty of 4%, and that's going to give us our payoff, total payoff amount, okay? So there are the steps. Let's put it in.
You shouldn't be using the $8,000 thing.
hold on. Okay, so 1 million, 5%, 15, regular payment. Okay. Okay. Eduardo, your question was basically, why are we using the 7,900 payment and possibly not one of the other sort of adjusted payments? And the reason is because, keep in mind, the borrower is still making this as the monthly payment that is adjusting the balance of the loan. The add-on fee of the $100 a month doesn't impact the balance because it is strictly an administrative fee, okay? All right? So that's why, once again, it's all about the logic and making sure you get all this straight in your head. Okay, so let's just kind of recap through this. So we've got, basically, we use our amortization function. We say, okay, from month 1 to month 60, give me the amortization information. Specifically, I want the loan balance at the end of the 60th month, end of basically 5 years. I have a 4% prepayment penalty that I need to assess to that balance. So I've got, basically I'm multiplying it by itself, which is 1, times 0.04, so that I get the full, complete payoff, which would be $775, $393, $75. Does that make sense? Yes or no? So the actual amount of the penalty is really the difference between these two, which is what, about $30,000? Yep.
I don't understand why I'm off a little bit with the cents, because that's how I get the answer wrong. I guess I got the 745,570, but I got 0.66, you got 0.91.
How many decimal places is your calculator set to?
2.
Hit Shift, Display 9. Shift down,
Display.
and then 9. Okay, now when you redo it, it'll work. Trust me. Okay,
I trust you.
all right, now.
He doesn't trust anyone either.
Well, trust me. Okay, now.
What is that last number?
Okay, can you go
Okay, this is your
29,000.
payoff at end of month 60, which includes the prepayment penalty. Okay?
And the actual penalty itself is the difference?
Yeah, the difference between those two. So if you were to take 775, 393, 75 minus 745, 570, 91.
Because he's adding on the 4% penalty, so that's 775 is your payoff. It's your leftover principal plus the 4%.
So that is the dollar amount of the actual penalty itself. All I'm doing is just saving myself a step, because what I could have done is I could have just simply multiplied the 745, 570 times 4%. That would have given me the 29,732. Then I would have had to have added it to the 745 to get the 775.
Is it ever worth it to pay it off even though it's a 30,000
Yes,
penalty?
yes.
So I guess the interest rate would just.
Well, it's not just the interest rate, it's also the case of if you've got a ready, willing, and able purchaser that's willing to buy the property now and give you a nice tidy return above and beyond all of that, then, you may, or the opposite is true. What if you've got somebody that's willing to take it off your hands and you can break even versus wait another 6 months, the market crashes, and then you're stuck. So it's all about timing. I mean, I can't tell you, how many times I've, been in situations of where, I overhear these conversations at restaurants or bars where people are talking about, oh my God, my payment is coming due, you know, after 5 years of this thing, and I've got to either refinance or I've got to basically, you know, sell the property, and they're, you know, in this complete state of disarray because the doom of that is they could potentially lose everything, you know, just because they can't refinance the property. Okay, moving forward. Now, with this information, what do we do with it? Okay, and this is the part where it begins to go, okay? So, let's think about this for a second. All right, we put this information in again on our calculator. I keep doing this on purpose, sort of starting over to kind of make sure we don't screw up anything. All right, so
Was that present value negative?
in this case, this is going to be an outflow to us, yes, because it's a payoff amount. Okay, now if we think about all the component parts of this, and this is going to now get back to Eduardo's point earlier. Okay, so what is the real dollar amount in this case? Let me think about how I want to, yeah, okay. The real dollar amount we're dispersing is $950,000, correct? Yes? Okay. The term in which we are going to be calculating our lender's yield is now going to be over how many months? 60 months or 5 years, correct? So you can either put in 5, shift in, or 60 in. Either way, gets you the same thing, okay? Now, our future value is going to be 775,393.75, and that's going to be a negative future value because that is a payment we are going to have to pay off to the lender, okay? And then we've got our actual monthly payment is not going to, this is where Eduardo's point comes to fruition. It's not going to be the $79.07.94, it's going to be the $100 more than that. In this case, the $80.07.94, and that is going to also be a negative, and it's going to be our payment amount. Now, what do we have left we can solve for? Or our lender's yield. Okay, so let's see what we get.
Where did that 8,000 come from again?
It's 7,900 something, you added $100
Yeah, plus the
to
service.
administration
Payment
fee.
with the $100 service fee.
So it's the, you added 79, whatever that is.
Dun dun dun. 7.0376%. What was our initial interest rate? 5. Okay? So a full 2 percentage points more than what the stated interest rate was, strictly based on loan origination fees, prepayment penalty fees, and monthly servicing fees. Is everybody clear with that? Yes or no? Okay. So what you've got to do is just sort of think through the logic on this and, understand, once again, where the numbers are coming from, where they're going. And I've combined all 3 of them into this one problem, but you should be able to isolate each one and sort of say, okay, if you just do a prepayment penalty without loan origination fees, without, monthly processing fees, what would be my rate of return? And we can do that very easily because we can just simply swap out some of the numbers here. If we wanted to remove the monthly servicing fee, what would we do? Just put that back to the original payment amount. Yes?
Yeah.
If we wanted to remove the impact of the loan origination fees, we put that back to $1 million. You follow what I'm saying? So that we can go and we can, like for example, if we just simply take that, just to sort of illustrate my point here for a second, and let's say that we want to put the loan back to the full $1 million, getting rid of the loan origination fees. And that drops us back down to a 5.718%. So now all we have left that we're paying a prepayment penalty and we're paying the $100 servicing fee. Okay, if we want to get rid of the $100 servicing fee, then we put the $79.0794 as our payment and then solve for the interest rate.
Wait, where'd the 5.71 come from?
Okay, all we did was, what I'm trying to do is help you to kind of back and forth think about, if we've got three variables here, really. We've got our loan origination fee, we've got our prepayment penalty, and we've got our monthly servicing fee.
Okay.
So this number, 7.03, contains all three.
Right.
Okay, if we now remove the loan origination fee to put the loan back to the normal, then all we've got left is the prepayment penalty and the monthly servicing. Okay, if I remove the monthly servicing and put it back to the normal payment, then this is just simply showing us the effect of only the prepayment penalty. Does that make sense? And you can just kind of tinker around with that. But the idea is that of what we're trying to be able to sort of show you is that we can add or subtract really any of those variables and then see what the resulting impact is going to be on the overall lender's yield or effective cost to borrow.
And this is looking strictly from the lender's point of view.
Well, it is
Because
in one sense, but it's also looking from your perspective because this is really what you're paying in terms of that's what's called effective cost of borrow.
right, so for example, you have all three, so they get you to 70376. So let's say I'm looking at it from my point of view, and I know I have the prepayment penalty, but I have my contract that says, hey, I'm gonna get 1.1 million on that. So now I want to figure out my IR, factoring all of that. So you already have. So here's what I'm confused. So you already have one future value because you have the prepayment penalty in there. How do you account for that 1.1 sale price coming in too?
That's separate.
Okay.
No, we have a whole separate.
Then you do the whole thing.
Yeah, because this. Okay, once again, think about what I just said. This was called. It's your effective cost of borrowing.
Right, yeah.
This is independent. It's like in a bubble
Yep.
relative to what you actually bought the property for and what you sold it for.
I got it.
This is strictly.
There's no relation.
Yep. Or it's interrelated, but at the same time, it's no relation. Okay? Other questions or comments? Do you feel like you learned anything?
Yes.
Okay. Is your brain ready to explode or has it already exploded?
Ready.
Ready for a beer?
Okay. Let me check. Make sure that I am got the little things. Oh, yeah. I still got a couple little things I need to talk about. Let's see. Yeah, we can talk about negative amortization. And that'll be the final topic for the day, or for this class. Okay. Okay. What is negative amortization?
Reverse mortgage.
No, that's not a reverse mortgage. Reverse mortgage is something totally different.
When somebody fails to pay and the payment goes to
No.
the capital.
Not so much when they fail to pay, it's more of you have a situation of maybe where they're not paying enough,
No.
It's going, the value's going,
and that your loan balance
it's going up.
starts to ratchet up, okay? You're saying, well, how can that happen? Well, number of ways. In some cases, some lenders will make you a loan, and from an affordability perspective, even on some commercial loans, will sort of say, all right, we're gonna work out a deal with you where the first couple of years, we know that your business is gonna be a little difficult, you know, or in the case of just purely a real estate play, we know you're gonna have some time that you're gonna need to lease up your property, okay? That to get it from 0% occupancy to, you know, whatever, stabilized at 70, 75, 80% or higher. And so what we're willing to do is we're willing to give you a loan now for the full amount that you're asking for, but we're going to calculate the payment based more on what you can afford right now. But by doing so, that means that over this sort of grace period, your actual loan balance is going to climb. So for example, let me just kind of paint the picture relatively simple. You borrow $1 million, all right? But if the monthly payment that you make is less than is needed to service that loan. So even using the example that we just had, we had $1 million loan at 5% interest rate, stated interest rate, with a 15-year term, and if my memory serves me correctly, our monthly payment was what, $79.07? Okay, and some change, okay? Now, what if the lender were to say, for the first year of this loan, I'm only gonna make you pay $2,000 a month, okay? Because I know your property is not fully leased, you don't have the money to be able to service any more of the mortgage than that, but I'm willing to take a chance on you because I believe in the project, but I understand that you don't have the money right now. Does that make sense?
Wouldn't they do that, for example, what is it, just pay the principal and then you end up capitalizing the interest?
That's one approach,
Okay.
okay? My approach is I'm just simply saying it's a fixed amount of
Got it.
$2,000, okay? So if that's the case, let's just sort of play with this. We calculate the actual payment, but then we replace that payment with $2,000, okay? Now, what we can do is we can then say, all right, let's, in this case, look at what the balance is going to be at the end of the first year. Okay? So let's just start with this. See what we get. Okay, so our balance at the end of the first year, 1026, 604, and 1819. So what has actually happened here is, obviously over the course of that first 12 months, we haven't paid anything off. Not only have we not paid anything off, we've actually accumulated an extra $26,000 on our balance because of unpaid principal and unpaid interest. Does that make sense? Yes or no? This is an example of negative amortization, okay? In the sense that our balance is going up, negatively amortizing instead of positively amortizing. And so now what we've got to sort of say is, all right, after that first 12 months, then we've got to almost kind of go back in and we've got to renegotiate terms for the remaining 14 years. And when we do, this is going to be our new loan amount for 15 years at whatever, 5% interest rate, and our monthly payment is now going to be something greater than $79.07 because it's going to have to be in order to basically deal with what we basically undertook that first year. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, cool with that? Okay, so instead of starting with a new topic, you got 3 minutes, so I let you up 3 minutes early. Okay? All right, so we'll see you back at 12:30 for those of you in the financial modeling class. Make sure you bring your laptops with you, and we've got some spreadsheets available. And we will be here, yes, here.
For you, real quick, how did you inputted payment and then you inputted the 2,000 plus minus payment twice?
Not twice, just once. I mean, this is what I've got written up here. 2,000 plus or minus payment, and then 1 input 12, shift amortized, equally equal.
Shit, man. These classes now are a lot easier for me than.
Okay, we'll do that another time.
Maybe 11.
About 30 minutes.
Why? I'm only 30 minutes. I'm stuck.
No, I have a hurricane game right now.
Oh, you here with me? The next class? No. Okay. Are you gonna do it? Okay. Good, I know. Oh no, you see me every week. What do you have? No, don't put. I like you. All right, bye.
Six.